baby.
Shh.
That's the first thing I've said to you. You streaming?
It's alright. Actually, I'm recording this to add to the stream later. So I'm not really streaming.
Every time I see cheese balls, I think about Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Well,
I don't know exactly what anything has to do with cheese balls in there, but I know cheese balls were involved.
I only know raisins. Oops, language. mean party happening next door, let me tell you.
Hey, good evening, guys. This is Fernando, or Flico Paints. So now you know my name is Fernando. Flico's a nickname, and I just want to throw up this video that you're watching of me working on this base from the other night. But I'm here live, talking over the video. I see we got somebody watching. How you doing? Hope you're having a good night. Feel free to say something in the chat and I can respond. Or if you have any questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, by all means. Yeah, this is a project that I've had in mind for a while. Sounds like they have a party going on next door, but that's fine. If you can hear it in the mic, I don't know. But this little project I've had in mind for a while, and I just had the idea of having this guy with this rocket launcher in this crater, trying to make some kind of alien terrain. And usually you use milliput for this kind of work, but I decided to go with the green stuff because that's what I had handy. It seems to be the theme on this on these streams is I'm pretty much just using what I've got handy to get the effects that I want on my on each of my projects. So I kind of want the outside ring of this crater that this guy's in. You know, kind of looks like a typical you know, I guess almost lunar type crater, using whatever tools I've got handy. I haven't actually gone out and gotten any sculpting tools yet, but at some point I do want to start sculpting. I think I can do it. But this green stuff is interesting. You got to keep all your tools wet or else it just sticks to everything. And then you have situations like this that you see here where you've laid it down, but then you touch it and it all just comes off. In this case, I'm laying new green stuff over the green stuff you might have seen me put down on this base in the last video. I just had some time during the week and sit down and just add this stuff, so I decided to record it in case anybody just wanted to see it and they get some idea. If you're afraid of working with green stuff, just like any of this stuff, don't be afraid. Just get in there and do it. You know, it's the best way. Ooh, I think maybe the stream might have fallen. Feels like, feels like maybe the video paused. I hope that's not the case. Huh. Well, if that is the case, I'd like you to tell me, because that's not at all what I had intended. Let's see what happens if I shut this down. That's weird. I'm not sure if you can see this. Okay, yeah, it's working. just using the knife to get some ridges on there. I think I decided on going with an orange in the last video for the terrain color.
Yeah.
I got some
Okay.
mini craters that I put in there.
No sé, no me fijé.
I don't know how visible they're going to be once the once our marine is lying in that
Sí.
terrain, but I think
Bueno.
it'll look cool,
Yeah.
and it'll be painted after, I don't know, 40 years.
Oh, sí.
Well, the marine had been painted previously, and I stripped them
Entonces está bien.
in
¿En qué televisor lo
a
pusieron?
paint stripper. Actually, I tested it. Originally, I had
¿En la sala de atrás o la de adelante?
thinner, because he is a metal mini, and the thinner wouldn't
Ah,
do
bien.
anything to
Está bien.
the mini itself. You don't want it
Ah, qué bueno. Date
plastic.
las gracias. Dale las gracias de mi parte también.
But it did loosen up all the paint, but it didn't come off.
Ah, bueno. Yo pensé que tú lo habías cogido
Later,
antes con la antena, pero no estaba
when
seguro.
I dropped them in the simple green stuff,
I thought you got it with an antenna
That's
before,
when,
but I wasn't sure.
the paint really just fell off. The mini pretty much had to take
Sí,
a
pero
little brush to them.
no,
A little bit
eso
of
es
a
lo que tú
brush
tienes allá.
to them, and
Sí.
that knocked off the rest of the paint on that marine that you see.
Ah, porque la caja ya es otra cosa, ya es cable ya.
In gray. I used the Tamaya primer
Sí, allá se te va a acabar el cable.
on him and the gun.
Uh-huh.
That's why he's gray.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna shut off what I'm saying here on the video.
Ay,
I
que
shut
te
off the
nace
audio
muy
on the video,
good. We'll see.
I think.
We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Or maybe not. You tell me. But yeah, it sounds like I got a lot of work to do on the microphone still for this channel. But yeah, just go in and worked about half an hour on this base just to try and get it close to what I want it to be. And I probably should have stopped about 25 minutes in, but I kept working and reworking the green stuff, trying to get it exact. And what I didn't realize as I went is that I had a really smooth surface, which you could get away with. It is a alien terrain, right? So who's to say what that alien terrain looks like? Which probably gives you some freedom to work with it. So I did that, and I don't know that I've seen anybody do, well, I haven't really seen that too many videos actually. I just decided to start my own, and that's what you're seeing here. But yeah, just working with this. There's other types of medium you can use. It doesn't have to be green stuff. As a matter of fact, I think green stuff might be a little more expensive than what you might want to use, especially in a case like this. Milliput is what a lot of people use for bases. I didn't have any handy, and didn't feel like going out to get any when I started. I just had some free time and sat down and put the time in to get this a little further down the road and closer to finished. But yeah. So you might notice that I deleted the chat window. I deleted the chat window from the view so that it would be easier to see what I'm doing. I'm not At some point I'll get the chat window going on there so that it's clear. That way you can still see what I'm working on and still be able to see the chat. But if you are watching this on Twitch, then there's a chat window next to the video anyway, so it's not really necessary. At least that's what my son tells me. But I think it's neat, especially if you make the whole maximize the video screen on your computer or whatever you might be watching on, and that way you still get to see the chat. But in any case, yeah, this is me just messing around with the green stuff. I really haven't used it much, especially not for anything as big as this. I've used it mostly to fill in gaps in other minis that I've put together. I have a Chimera that was one of the first minis I painted after I started painting again, that I used to fill in some spaces and sculpt and hide it for his wings and his body. Interestingly enough, that wing fell off last month on a gaming trip I did to Orlando, and the box that I had my Chimera in wasn't, well, at least the way I put him in there was not as safe as it should have been. So here I have a bunch of extra green stuff that I made more than what I needed, and I'm kneading it here off screen a little bit, but I want to be really wary of how much I put on here. I don't want to just put it on the base because I made it. I'd rather just make what I need, make it and not need it, than use it because I have it. So as I get further and further along with this, well, I know that the outcome, I'll end up having a little bit of leftover green stuff that will turn into a rock that I won't use, but I will have gotten a lot closer on this project to having it completed. It's funny, this particular mini, most of the work now is going to be in the base and not so much in the mini and the painting. This is probably a lot of the time, most of the time that I'm spending here is going to be sculpting this base and getting it to a point where I like it. Yeah. Put some music on in the background. That doesn't feel like... yeah. So here I kind of get a little caught up in delineating the actual base from the green stuff, which I think it was a mistake for me to get into. I should have just let it dry and come back later. I was trying to get it clean while it was still wet, and I think that hurt me in the process. You'll see when we get further into it. I'm trying to clean up that black ring because of some idea I have in my head. And I get it, but maybe I should not have gotten too attached to that idea as I went through it. It's funny because I'm showing you this video because I don't want to go too far ahead on the mini without streaming it live, just so you guys can see what I do with the mini as I do it. So originally I wanted to speed up the recording and show it at the beginning of a live stream, but that became a little bit of a mission for me as I am still playing around with these programs and learning how to do that. But slowly but surely, don't call me Shirley, right? It's coming together. So at least I wanted to post it here for you guys to see. And so I hope you get something out of watching this, whether it's a better idea for yourself before you jump into using green stuff, or you get some other idea for some project you might be working on. That'd be cool. You know, anything like that. Yeah. And you see a little bit of my head there, my hair, my curly grays. Yeah. Sorry about that. Not sure exactly how to avoid that yet. Unless I get in closer. So yeah, this video is pre-recorded, but I'm here live, rewatching it. It's funny. I guess it's because it's not my face. I can actually watch this and try to see what I get to see what I was doing when I was doing it again. It's kind of neat. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this stuff. I think you just need to do, figure out what you need or what you want it to look like, and use what you got to make it happen. And if you can't go out and get what you need, then go out and get it, But yeah, that back piece was coming loose. I kind of pushed it in, and I still want to make it look like the rocket launcher is sitting on top of this material. And since that rocket launcher came on a base, because this is an old school mini that they come on their own bases, I had to kind of bury the base into the green stuff, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to blend it so that it doesn't look like I buried the base in the green stuff. I think it's going to be doable. There's a second step to that base that I'm going to be doing once it dries. And depending on how tired I am tonight, I'll either do it right after this video, or it'll be the next live video I post up. But yeah, that's me dry fitting this guy there. Actually used him to put a dent in the green stuff for his elbow so I can kind of locate it. And then I gotta mess around with that. Yeah. There's a lot of looking and re-looking. These are my screwdrivers for my glasses. They make pretty good sculpting tools. Hey, whatever's going on next door was a success apparently. So yeah. Yeah, again, I think I went a little overboard on my trying to separate that base from the green stuff. Because I should have just let it go a little bit and come back and hit it with a sandpaper after the fact. Yeah. But I think I'm almost done. So yeah. I wasn't curious to know if you got an idea of what it is I'm trying to do there. If you get the idea that this is a crater that he's lying in, using for cover. Very minimal cover, but still some cover. Yeah. Scrape out. I got some stuff that's pretty sticky when it dries. I suspect that once I clean it off, sand it down a little bit, it will be nice and smooth when I paint that rim. I do have an urge to paint the crater gray, kind of like the moon, but I think I want to go orange. The same color that the base on the rocket launcher is. I think that's the way I want to go. Here I'm trying to define these little ridges in the crust of the crater. And I'm sure I'll have to rework them again once this stuff dries. Or at least mess with them a little bit. The problem I'm having here is that I have one layer of dry green stuff beneath this new layer of wet green stuff that I put on top of it. So depending on which way I push and pull the clay, I could get left with a gap, which I did when it was over. But luckily, thanks to my buddy Ryan, he left me some liquid green stuff. So I'm probably going to go back in once it dries and fill that in with some liquid green stuff and maybe texture up this crater. Especially the crater seems very smooth because I watered this stuff down, or I had to keep it wet while I worked with it, and so that it wouldn't stick to my fingers or that mini that I'm pressing into the clay. I just want to see what he looks like in there. Get a nice fit for him, where he looks like he's about to press the big red button, right? Yeah. I'm already anxious to put this thing together. And I think that once the base on this mini is done, that's going to be most of the work. Because this marine is not going to have too much detail on that mini, as far as I can tell. I'm going to get me a little drink of water here. Give me a second. Well, that looks like the end of the video, let me jump over here, and there you go. That's the mini now as it's dry. This is a few days later, and it's dried out. And yeah, so yeah, so it's this is what it looks like. You see, I'll fill this in with some green stuff, liquid green stuff, in a bit, probably in the next video. It's kind of dry, and you see it's really smooth. I think I want to get a little bit more rough texture, maybe fix that. But I think now it's kind of rock hard now, so I can sand it and texture it some more. I do like these striations that I have here. I just want to make it a little bit more rougher, and then this guy fits right in there. Right. I open it up so that you can see him and the gun and the rocket launcher. He's raising his hand to start working on the controls. I might put some more terrain in there just to lift it up so he's a little more in line with that panel. And other than that, and I can see already a chip in my paint where this mini has fallen and chipped. But that's okay. I'm not, we're still in the painting process, so my spare fin that I added is still on intact, so we're gonna be alright. Yeah. Well guys, that's it. That's me sculpting the base for this rocket launcher and Traveler Space Marine. I hope you liked it, and I'll talk at you later. Have a good night.